We're live on Facebook.
We need to shut off the AC and shut the doors. We're going to drop some pearls of wisdom today. I am Dr. George Xavier Love for the Ask Dr. Love podcast, where you can ask any questions about Asian medicine, herbs, healing, and your health. So this is going to be powerful. If you got any friends, close friends, tell them to tune in. We've got the vaccine for COVID-19. We've got the vaccine for COVID-19. We've been in the laboratory for the last 4 days. It's not going to take 18 months. It's not going to take 18 months. It's absolutely free. And you won't have to get chipped to get the vaccine. So we're live on Facebook. We're live on Instagram. And we're live on YouTube. Okay, so let's get started. So, what do we know about viruses? And what do we know about coronavirus? And what do we know about novel coronavirus? All we know is what they tell us. We have no independent means of corroborating anything they say. So there are scientists in China, and there's doctors in China. And some people are like, well, if they're Chinese, that's no good. And then there's other people who are doctors in hospitals and are working with patients that are who've been infected. And then it turns out, no, they just have admitting privileges. They aren't really working at the hospital. And then we have other people that are swearing that an antibacterial can kill a virus. And antibiotics can't kill a virus. Virus is not even alive. So the only thing that we really know that's true is what they tell us, and then it's mixed in with so much misinformation and disinformation. How do we separate out? And then people make posts, and then people share those posts, and it turns out that however well-intentioned, myself included, sharing something, it turned out not exactly true. Partially true, but not exactly true. So I'm guilty of everything else that, posting stuff without having double, triple verified it. So this morning I spent the whole time verifying what I came up with. So I'm going to give it to you straight. My point from the beginning was to boost your immune system. That's my field of expertise. And the immune system from the Asian perspective, not the Western perspective. So whatever I say about Asian medicine, that is definitely true. And it can be corroborated by anybody who's either gone to Chinese medicine school, who's a licensed acupuncturist, or teaches acupuncture anywhere in the world. That can be double, triple checked. So the immune system from the Western perspective has always been about gut flora, of which not as much is known as should be known. And there's people who are gut flora specialists, like my friend J.A., who's always on my coat, always on my case to double, triple check anything before I post it. And then I have friends in Italy who are acupuncturists who frequently point things out, correct me in certain areas. So my job is to bring to you what I do know that is absolutely true. And that is that they discovered in 2016 that there are type 2 lymphocytes in the brain that modulate your immune system. Previously, these lymphocytes were only thought to be in the skin, the mucosal lining, and the gut. Now they find out there's a completely new set of type 2 lymphocytes in your brain. So that creates a link between your brain and your immune system. Now, Western medicine is using this information for cancer, brain injuries, autism, and Alzheimer's. So they're specifically using these type 2 lymphocytes to increase their ability to treat specific diseases. So let's look at the lymphatic system and how it works in your brain, because the lymph system filters dirt out of your whole body. So what's going on in your brain? So we have something called the limbic system, which is part of your emotional response. So what we have is the amygdala, which is your emotional memory. Then we have the hippocampus, which modulates the emotional memory, moderates it, kicks it up to the neocortex, then comes back with a response, and then tells the hypothalamus what to do. So the limbic system is your 6 senses. So we know the 5: sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing. But then the insight, or the sensing, the ability to feel energy, that's the 6th sense. Now the limbic system is directly involved with, am I full? Am I warm? Am I safe? Am I sexy? And do I like myself? So those are the 5 parts of the limbic system. And if any of those things are not true, I want a candy, I want a gum, I want a chocolate, I want a cigarette, I want a wine, I want a beer, I want a sex, I want to shop, I want to gamble, I want to do something outside to make me feel good inside. Instead of meditating, instead of modulating my response, controlling how I feel, and then I don't react emotionally, I don't strike out. So, anger, fear, worry, and I talk about this every single day. Fear is the biggest contributor to cortisol, which increases your stress level, which then makes you want to do something. I want a drink. I want an alcoholic beverage. I want a soda. I want something. I want a coffee. Okay? I want something. Instead of just meditating, instead of turning on a hot shower and just sitting in the bathtub and letting the water just run over you. So fear lowers the immune response. What overcomes fear is knowledge. And knowledge, the seeking of knowledge, is about love. I love myself, I love my family, I love everything in my immediate surroundings. And if you love something, you want to know everything about it. And you meet somebody and you say, oh, I love him, he's so beautiful, I love her, she's so beautiful. Tell me everything about you. I want to know all about you. Well, knowledge overcomes fear. Love and fear cannot coexist in the same body at the same time. Love and fear. So, how do we control fear? How do we overcome fear? How do we transform fear into courage? The word courage comes from the French word coeur, which means heart. The way to overcome fear is to strengthen your heart, which is to love. So, my friends, what is the grand news? What is the vaccination for? What's the vaccine for COVID-19? It's a love injection. It's all you. Acceptance, love, and understanding. That is the vaccine for COVID-19. Acceptance, love, and understanding. So you have to understand you. Study you. Love and understanding. Acceptance, love, and understanding. That's the vaccine. And it's available right now, today. You can give it to the person next to you. Acceptance, love, and understanding. Your brain has a lymphocyte that you didn't know about, that the brain mapping, that the body mapping, that the scientists, that the biologists, that the medical people did not know until December 2016. Bear with me now. They're going to rewrite the textbooks. 2017, they discovered a new organ called the mesentery. They knew that the mesentery existed. They didn't know it operated independently. They thought it was part of the spleen. And they really don't know how the spleen works. So, 2017, they discover the mesentery has a completely different agenda from the spleen and attaches to the large intestine and the stomach. It's attached. So there's some organ that operates independently and they don't really know exactly how it works. Then in 2018, they discover another new organ called the interstitium. The interstitium is the interstitial fluid plus the fascia plus the connective tissue. These are all new advances in science. So, the interstitial fluid is the fluid that invades every part of the body. So now they discover that the interstitial fluid is part of the endocrine system. What does the endocrine system do? Gee whiz. We thought we knew everything about the endocrine system. No, you don't. The fluid is part of the hormones. So when somebody strokes your arm and you're blindfolded, you get an electrical charge from that. You don't know if it's a guy, a girl, an old lady, or a kid, somebody stroking your arm, but it triggers a response, a pleasure response. Now you take the blindfold off and it's some creepy old lady or creepy old guy, there's a different response. There's a fear response. So your fluid carries a neurotransmitter which goes directly to the brain. The immune response is run by lymphocytes. And there's 3 types. And I don't want to get into the biology and the science of it. But you can look this up online. You don't have to take my word for this. And for those science people that want references, I spent all morning collecting the references. I can send them out to you. So the issue is we have more control over our immune systems than previously thought because of the way we feel about ourselves. You can trigger your own immune response to level up and level up and level up and level up. And this is what I've been saying about Qigong for years and years and years. And now we've got the biological science to confirm it. They actually took pictures of the meninges of the brain, because before they didn't have the camera equipment, they didn't have the medical equipment to actually identify the type 2 lymphocytes that live in the meninges, which is the lining of the brain. In 2018, they just thought interstitial fluid was one thing. They thought the fascia was something different, and the connective tissue was something different. Surgeons thought the connective tissue was just in the way when they were trying to do their surgery. And now they realize the connective tissue, which is the little stuff that wraps every organ, and the fascia, which is the stuff underneath the skin, and the interstitial fluid, they all work together as one thing. Now, you got to ask yourself, why didn't they know that before? Or why didn't they even conceptualize that it all worked together if you believe that you were created by something else? And if you do rat studies and you do primate studies and monkey studies and mice studies, if you do all those studies, how come you didn't know that before? And yet you want us to trust you about microbiology. You want us to trust you about viruses that are half killed. I'm sorry, they were never alive. You want us to trust you about a virus that you do something to and then inject it in a human body so they will build up an antithesis to a virus. If you can't discover how the mesentery works, if you can't discover how the spleen works, and you don't know that the interstitial fluid is part of the endocrine system, if you just discovered this 2016, 17, 18, really? And you want me to trust you? I'm sorry, can't do it. Cannot trust you. So here's your love injection. Friday night, 7 p.m., I'm going to tell you how to give yourself an inoculation, how to give yourself a vaccination for acceptance, love, and understanding. And I'm giving it away. I'm not charging for it. It's going to be absolutely free. Friday night, 7 p.m. What's the, well, you'll just see the link. If you're watching this now, the link will be in the text about the webinar. It's absolutely free. Tell all your friends, tune in Friday night for the science. There'll be a sidebar with all the science that I'm sharing with you right now. But we've got the vaccine for COVID-19. It's a love injection. Acceptance, love, and understanding. It's all you. Okay, do we have any questions?
No, ask them if they have any questions.
Okay, so this is Ask Dr. Love. So I just thought I would lead with the information. And now you can ask me personal stuff. You can ask me about your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother. You can ask me anything you want. You can ask me about the virus. You can ask me about Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, public servants, anything to do with health, you can ask me. Politics, not so much. So I am ecstatic to share this information with you that has been in the realm of science since 2010. The NIH has known about this since 2010. The whole corona thing has been known since 2010. This is not new stuff. This is 2020. So this stuff has been out here for at least 10 years. But it has to filter down to the medical schools. Then it has to filter down to the specialists. Then it has to filter down to the family doctors. And then it goes into the science writers. And then it finally gets down to regular folks. So, short story, there was a guy who said, back in 1890, who said, you got to wash your hands before you do surgery. And they laughed at him and they ridiculed him. And he was a medical doctor, by the way. And he was a surgeon. And they just poured the salt on him. He lost his practice. He died penniless. His family was ostracized. And here's a doctor who said, you have to wash your hands before surgery, or you won't get a good outcome of the surgery. Here's a medical doctor preaching antisepsis in 1890. Well, guess what happened in 2010? Some new doctor who was not around in 1890 read a report and said, hey, that's a really good idea. We should all wash our hands. And everybody jumped on the bandwagon and said, yeah, we should wash our hands. And then, boom, everybody started hand washing after that. But it took 20 years before the public caught on to washing hands. So, totally up to you. And so people who follow these things know that over time, Western medicine changes. Its opinions, its viewpoints, and the things that it push. Because medicine is an inexact science. It's continuously growing. And it's accumulating data. And like, we used to think that, but now we think this. Well, 20 years ago, you killed my father in surgery. Yeah, but that was the prevailing attitude at the time, and it was the best medical decision at the time. But now we believe differently. Yeah, so 20 years from now, are you still going to believe what you believe now, or is that going to change? Well, today is the prevailing information at the time, so we're just going to go with this, and we're just going to cut that out. No, I think I'll take my chances. So, Ed, I told you I was going to blow your mind this morning. Did I blow your mind? Or you've been too busy?
Yeah, you blew my mind. But it's still intact because I got to use it.
You got to use it. So the holistic motivator is very motivating this morning and motivated. So to reiterate, if you join the podcast late, you have more control over your brain than you realize. You have more control over your immune system than you realize. Oh, the good part. I didn't even get to the good part yet. Qigong stimulates your lymphatic system in the brain. Particularly this one, the swing arms one that we do every day, Monday through Friday. The swing arms, which technically it's called the lymphatic swing. And we chin up, chin down, chin up, chin down. We push the arms down, pull them up. That exercise increases blood flow to the brain and flushes the lymphatic system. And then we do a brain brush, and we do an anti-aging facial, and we stimulate the lymph system in the meninges in the brain. So Qigong kicks up the lymphatic system function in your brain. So without Qigong, it's how you feel. It's about your emotional states. And I say this every single day, and I cannot keep repeating it enough until it sinks in. You've got to do your Qigong every day. And for the members of Boost Your Immune System, I will post the anti-aging facial for the members of that. And if you want to become a member of Boost Your Immune System, go to loveqigong.com and you can register and you can join our daily class, and then you'll have access to the archives of the previous classes. So I'm really excited that I found this information in the NIH and the University of Virginia Medical School research team that found these lymphocytes in the brain. And I will also bring you the research about the interstitium, who did the research, and how it affects how we look at the body. But the single most important thing is that the interstitium confirms acupuncture and Chinese medicine and Qigong as the modulator of the neuroendocrine system, the stimulus for your healing process.
Got a question for you. Ethan asks, does meditation a key in boosting immunity?
Absolutely, meditation is a key. Now, you have what we call waking state, which is beta, and that's when your brain waves are. But then, as you slow down, you go into alpha, which is the meditative state. But then we can slow the brain even further down into theta, which is 3 to 5 cycles per second. And then we can go even lower into delta, which is 0 to 3 cycles per second. So if we can slow the brain down below 5 cycles per second, that makes a huge difference. And so when we can meditate and we can slow the brain down, wow, that will definitely kick in the immune response.
Now, I know you said that Qigong is moving acupuncture. Well, it stimulates the meridians.
Yes.
Linda says acupuncture helped me a lot, but I don't have access to it. How does it compare to acupressure? And what do you think those pressure pins they have on market about the pressure pins?
Okay. The question is, acupuncture is very effective for me. However, I no longer have access to someone who can put pins in me. Is acupressure equally as effective? And how do you feel about the acupressure tools that are on the market? Well, I teach a course in acupressure, and I also have tools that you can use for acupressure. And they are magnets, there's a Taitian tool, there's an acupressure tool, and I can, in one of the webinars that is going to be on a Friday, I can show you what they all look like, and I can tell you how to use it. Or you can contact me privately, and I can set up a private session for you and show you how to use the equipment and how to heal yourself. And more importantly, in a telemedicine conference, I can show you what points to use.
All right, so that's all the questions.
That's all the questions, and I think we're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time.
And we're out of time until tomorrow. So, all you Your brain is linked to your immune response, and you can change it with Qigong. I want to see you tomorrow, but tell all your friends Friday night, I'm going to tell you how to give yourself a love injection for the vaccination, the vaccine for COVID-19. Dr. George Xavier Love here for Love Chinese Medicine. And remember, prevention is the only cure. And you've got to be well, you've got to breathe well to be well. Thank you.
All right. It was already done. Sugar Free says it goes so fast.
Yeah.
So loveqigong.com, everybody. Loveqigong.com. So can you tell them, this is post, but can you tell them how they can watch this every day? It's on the Facebook and YouTube, right?
Yes, it's on Facebook and YouTube. You can watch it on Spotify, Ask Dr. Love podcast, on iTunes, on Radio Play, and anchor.fm/Ask Dr. Love.